Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host HC, and with me is.
Wolf.
And today we are, getting used to our whips again because we are heading back to the world of Castlevania with the new-ish, I suppose, because I think that we are like what, a week late to covering this because
A
what
little
came.
bit, yeah. Like it came out on the 28th, so
Okay, so a
we're not
week.
that far behind. Yeah.
hmm But we are here with the new Castlevania series from Netflix coming back. We covered the entire. Excuse me. We covered the entire previous show like a few years ago, I want to say. And and I was kind of excited for this one. And what better time than October, the month of terror, to talk about
Ooh, spooky.
vampires and shit. So yeah, so just before we get into this, like you can find our thoughts about the original show. You know, just scroll through the channel. You'll find that we have an episode about each season where we discuss our thoughts. But in terms of familiarity with Castlevania as a franchise, I would say I'm a very casual fan. I know the games.
Same.
I know some of their plots. I know how they work. I'm gonna share some differences from what I remember and stuff as we go along. I have experience with the franchise. Wolf, what about you?
I'd say the same. Like I have some experience playing some of the games, but I've never been huge into it. I've just played a little bit here or there, and it's never been anything major. Like I'm not huge into the lore or the story or the characters, anything like that.
Hmm. Well, I know the lore a bit more, but again, I have notes of stuff that is either added to the show or changed or stuff. We'll discuss all of this as when we get to spoilers. But now, I will say I was interested because I remember when the previous show ended, the creator said, "We would like to do a show about Richter. We want to do a show about Richter Belmont." And so then when they announced it, I'm like, okay, cool. They're actually doing something with this. I'm interested. I want to see what they're going to do about it. And honestly, I think this one season is already better than the entire previous show. But that's just me. I really like this new season.
This is a good show,
That's it.
but
That's all you have.
but I'm I want to like it, and I think I do, but there's something that, and I think I know what that something is that's kind of keeping me from like saying, yeah, I'm in, right? Like the first show for me, season one, it was a little rough. It wasn't perfect. It had its issues here or there, but there was enough good there, and there was a few things within that first season that made me go, all right, yeah, I'm in. Let's go. This kind of has that, but there's just a few things that I feel like are just kind of holding me back, and I'm just like I'm not ready to jump into it fully yet, if that makes sense.
I get you, but it's so weird because I feel the opposite. I feel like this one got me more than the. And again, for the record, I like the previous series. I
Well,
like it just fine.
some of what I would have to
But
say is like spoilers, but I will say I think for me, it comes down to the characters and our main cast. They've not sold me yet, right? They've not like, all right, I'm behind you, let's go, right?
okay, I guess that's fair. I guess, and again, I think this is actually something I want to give the new show credit. It doesn't feel like it tried to recapture what they did with the original. Like Richter is nothing like Trevor. Maria is nothing like Cypher. The
I'll
character.
disagree on the Richter part. I
Oh,
think you're
really?
right, but I think, well, I think that that's kind of one of my problems with the show. I feel and makes me kind of just hold back just a little bit on it is that I feel like in some way they're trying to do like because the entire thing with Trevor Belmont, right, was more or less he's already the hero by the time you see season one. He's just kind of given up on all of it, right? He's just kind of
It's
done
not
with it,
the. Okay, for the
and he
record,
just
we
kind
are
of just
not.
doesn't care anymore. Right, no, I'm not gonna go too deep into it or spoilers or
Yeah, but
anything, but
just a note for this: we are going to assume that if you listen to this, you've seen the original show. So
yeah,
no spoiler tags for the original Castlevania because we assume you've seen it.
if not,
So with that,
go watch
I
it.
don't know. I think what they were trying to do with Trevor is not necessarily that he was already a hero, but like he was he was known, but not
No, I
for
mean,
good
no, but
reasons.
what I mean though is right, like he's already been through it. He has a history, and we don't really know a
Yeah,
lot of that history, but he's already like been in the saddle. He's seen it all, but he's kind of just given up on all of it, right? He just doesn't care anymore. He's
yeah,
world weary, I guess you would say, and kind of his
yeah.
arc
Because
throughout the
the world
first
also kind
show
of
is okay.
it because he had this mentality of like the world kind of hates me, so I hate the world.
Yeah. And his kind of arc is like, okay, getting back in the saddle and being like, all right, the world needs me. I guess I will do this. And then coming to find out, you know what? I do kind of miss this. I do kind of actually like doing this shit because it feels good. And that's kind of his arc. But I feel like for Richter, it to me, it feels like they almost want to have just a little bit of that like Trevor assholishness, but also they want to
I,
have their hey, I'm gonna become the hero that's gonna be the badass in the end of it. But it's just like
that's the thing. That's the thing. I don't feel like Richter has Trevor's asshole. Like he's snarky for sure, but he feels a lot more grounded. He feels a lot more like I'm learning this and I'm gonna be awesome at it at
I
some
don't know.
point.
I just maybe I just don't like the snarkiness. Maybe that's it.
Oh well, I like snarky characters, so
I
maybe
mean, yeah, you
that's
like
it.
Sonic, cough, cough, and also this character's blue, cough, cough.
Well, let's say no connection. Honestly, no
I'm
connection.
just
But
messing. I know, but like,
I know.
and I hate Sonic, and I hate the color. But no,
Yeah,
maybe that's
okay,
why I don't
okay.
like her.
You heard it here. Wolf hates Avatar, James Cameron's Avatar, because they're all blue.
I mean, who doesn't hate that movie?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, like I don't really care for those either. I just that's the first thing
But
that came to
no, no,
mind.
fair, fair. But yeah, it's I don't know. There's just something about it that makes me go. It feels like you want to do a little bit of Trevor, but you do want this to be a more standalone character, and you want him to have that becoming the hero journey and everything. And so to me, it feels I don't know. It feels like a little bit half and half, and I just wish it would like pick a side and
Be-
just shoe one or the other, right?
I thought they were different enough, and like
Which is fair. This is just
also kind of
me.
fitting with yeah. And I think they also kind of fit with what they were like. As much personality as you can. Richter had more than Trevor, because Trevor was in an 8-bit plane, and
I
Richter
mean,
game started having voice acting by the time that happened. But the point is, I think because again with Trevor, he was just kind of like, "Oh, Dracula hates me now. Well, I guess I have to go stop him." And Richter is already aware of like the Belmont's history, and that he'll one day have to live up to his ancestors. I'm talking about the games now,
yeah,
not
no, no.
the
It's
show.
also probably worth pointing out. I have less experience with Richter than I do with Trevor, quote unquote experience, since there's not a lot to do with Trevor character wise in those original
I
games.
don't think like correct. I'm not sure if anyone can correct me on this. Good, but I'm not sure if Trevor had any like major story significance in a games since Castlevania 3. Not sure on that. He was probably like in one of those
Shrug.
other ones,
Oh
but
no.
I don't think he was like. I don't think he was ever, beyond that one game. That's like his game, and that's really it.
Mm.
But they started the show with him because he's the first one who fought Dracula.
No, no, fair, fair.
So
Like I'm just saying, like from a character standpoint from the games, I don't have a lot to compare from. I've only played like one or two of them, and not a ton.
mhm.
And I've definitely not played like the later ones with voice acting and where they're doing a lot more story stuff, right? So
I will say Richter seems like they are trying to because for the record, this show is draws heavy inspiration for if the original show was Castlevania 3 with some other splatter, but it was mostly Castlevania 3. Then this one is doing a lot more of Rondo of Blood, and I
Symphony of the Night,
assume,
right?
assumably in the future, Symphony of the Night.
Mm.
And let's just say that these two games are kind of like, peak Castlevania to a
Yeah,
lot of people.
fair.
So I get so and the reason I'm mentioning this is because I feel like they had a lot more to base it on and I think it was like 2007 that they had a Rondo of Blood remake for the PSP, and I think they basically did Richter the same they did in that game from what I remember.
Mm.
At least the voices kind of hitting the same notes, so I might be wrong, but I think that's what they mostly based it on because that was the most recent incarnation.
Fair.
Also, Richter is in Smash, so automatically better. I win.
Fair enough. I
By the way,
concede the
remember
point.
Simon? What happened to that guy? He was the OG. Okay, I'm just joking, but okay. So anyway, anything else non-spoilery before we start delving into it?
No, most of my stuff I think would be spoilers as we get more into it. There's stuff there to talk about more, but
But
yeah,
for the record, I will say that though I highly recommend this season, and I can. It was just announced to be renewed for a second season, so I can't wait.
I mean,
Consider me accepted.
yeah, like it's don't get me wrong, like even if it doesn't fully appeal to me, this is still by far a very good show, right? Like I might have nitpicks or things that just doesn't sit with me and I'm not fully into it like I was the first one, but at least by this point. But at the same time, right, this is still a really excellent show and worth the watch. Like you're not going to be wasting your time watching this one. 100%.
Mhm. Well, so is it time for spoilers?
Mhm.
All right, so spoilers in three, two, one. Still here, good. So Trevor is dead.
And Sypha
Yeah, I mean that's
and
I'm kind of
Alucard.
joking a bit.
Wink.
You know what? We're gonna
Wink.
talk about this now because it's like the
Wink.
very you bring those wings up, and it's like the last thing that happens. So might as well talk about. So actually, I have to ask you, what
I
did you think when Alucard showed up? Let's go
I'm
with
gonna be
that.
honest with you, right? I spent
Mhm.
so much of this show, and I want to point this out, right? Maybe you noticed this too. There were multiple moments in this show. We had 3 moments, by the way, that do this specifically, but there were multiple other moments in the show that felt like, okay, so when is the old badass or a badass going to come in and save their asses right now? Right? Because that's what it
Mhm.
feels like multiple times. And then they actually do it with Annette and Edouard. Then they do it with the fucking Juste Belmont. We'll talk about that one. And then they
Oh,
do it
I
a third
wait.
time with fucking Alucard. And I'm like, that one was the one that kind of like, oh shit, yeah, that does make sense that he would be alive still because he's a vampire. But at the same time, I'm not like super impressed because it feels like you feels like you've done this twice already before with the badass coming in to
Oh,
save their asses, and then also it feels like this in many episodes have had those moments of the badass who's supposed to come in and save their asses and just didn't because like that's not what we're doing, but it definitely feels like that, and then they do it 3 times, and it's like, ugh.
honestly, didn't really bother me much,
It
honestly. But I will
doesn't
say,
bother me, but it just it to me, right, this is one of those things that I feel kind of takes away from Richter because, they did have that moment of, beforehand where he finally gets his magic back and everything and he's
oh,
fighting
that
people. It
that
would have been
that
really
part, and
great.
also that music track is from the game,
No, it's
and it's
good.
so good.
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
really again, they've always even the first show, right, had some
Mhm.
amazing, music edits and
Yeah,
everything that they did
it's
for the
something
OC.
that, and it carries over to this, like the
Yeah.
fight scenes, the animation, the voice acting, the
I
music.
think the animation has gotten better since the last show.
Yeah, I think because now that they know they have something on their hands here, they really up their game and their
Mhm.
budget and everything.
100% agreed. But yeah, like to me though, I think I wouldn't have shown Alucard in that moment. Simply like I know it's a great way to end a season. Don't get me wrong. I get that 100%. Don't disagree. But I think it would have been better for Richter, at least for me personally, if we would have seen him take down oh fuck, what is the vampire lady that looked like a fucking
Yeah.
demon? I'm gonna
By the
try and
way,
find the
I
name.
love how Yeah, suddenly I have to say, we have this vampire lady, which I don't think it's necessarily the same character, but the names are kind of similar. I think she's like based on the lady who's supposed to revive Dracula in Castlevania Bloodlines, which was kind of the contender on the Genesis for Richter's first game. So that's an interesting thing because there are no
Wait,
Belmonts in that game too.
mm. Yeah, it's Drolta is
So,
her name. Drolta
yeah.
Zuentes. And
Mhm,
that's another thing that I want to talk about. The villains, our big
yeah.
bad villain, Erzsébet Bethroy, right?
hmm
Just don't care for her. Like, it kind of, when I saw, like, I like
I'll,
Drolta more as a villain than I do Erzsébet.
Yeah, but I think that's also kind of the point that like for the first season, like we're dealing with the lackey and we're only getting glimpses of the villain. Like if you like it or not, it's a different thing. But they are trying to build this new villain
But
up more. Like
I don't know. It
when
just
we get
feels
her in
like
the final episode.
it feels like she goes out too quick. Like, I feel like
hmm
8 episodes, maybe it should have been like 10. We should have gotten one more episode with Drolta and then she can be taken out, right? I
hmm
don't know. It feels like there should have been 10 episodes this season, not 8, to me personally. Like, it moves very
Well,
quick, and that might be another issue I have with it.
I get, but I guess like maybe I'm not sure if it does the same thing of they ordered a certain amount and then they just air eight or whatever.
No, fair,
But
fair.
it felt like at some points it was like okay, we need Netflix does 8 episodes per season now, so this is what we have to cut.
Grumbling about that, but anyways.
Yeah, I get you.
But
It's
I
not
will say,
perfect.
for the most part, this feels pretty tight. Like, even if I'm
Mhm.
saying that it feels a little quick on certain aspects, it still feels pretty tight and well
Honestly,
done.
one of the things I will praise this show so far for is the pacing because I felt there were moments in the previous show, at least with season three, the most that the pacing was so freaking slow, like nothing really happened,
Yeah, it had a little
and
bit of that issue.
but this one was. I want to say that it was rushed, but it was like you had what you needed, and it was enough. Like
Hmm.
it was a good amount, and you could move on. And I think they did it really well.
I would agree. I
Mm.
would definitely agree.
But since we're talking about this, I know you said that it kind of lessened the impact where they kind of did it twice that like the main characters are saved. But when Alucard showed up, I do want to ask you: did you see it coming?
I'll actually give the show credit. No, because they had done it so much that, like, again, like, I was kind of like, oh shit, yeah, that would make sense that he would still be alive and come in to save the day, kind of. So, like, yeah, they kind of surprised me with that one. I won't lie, because I didn't expect it, because I didn't think they would bring back an old character. But it does make sense that Alucard would still be alive because he's immortal, right? I think.
So here's the thing where I'll say I didn't know if they were gonna do this in this season or wait, but Alucard is actually Alucard is actually is the main character in Symphony of the Night, which is
Mm,
the direct sequel to Rondo of Blood, Richter's debut game. And one of the things that game Symphony of the Night starts with you playing as Richter, and then 4 years after Richter disappears, and Alucard is gonna tasked with finding him, and they kind of become allies because Alucard is like, yeah, I cooperated with your ancestor, and that's so I figured they were gonna put Alucard in there.
mm.
Like I wasn't sure if it was gonna be in this season or if they're gonna wait with him a bit, but this reveal when it happened, I'm like, oh, now the shit's happening.
Well, the only
So
thing I see about this, right, is that it feels like, because they're introducing Alucard so early, he can't stick around for very long, because that's going to steal the spotlight away from Richter and the new cast.
and that's the
So,
other
like,
thing
they're
that
going to
I'm
either
wondering
kill
if they're
him
gonna
off
have.
or he's going to disappear or
I don't think
what.
I don't think they're gonna kill him off, but I will say I am interested in seeing how else they're gonna twist the story around because they're kind of combining in a lot of elements, be it Maria's age and and what they did with Jules Belmont and And especially that. I think his name is Orlok, the guy who
Orlox,
kills Rick.
yes,
Yeah, Orlok.
Olrox.
Like, listen, this guy is just a boss in Symphony of the Night, and they turned him into this fully fledged kind of tragic villain. And I honestly, it's like, listen, they literally took nothing and made something out of it.
Fair.
All credits go to these writers.
I'll definitely say, right, I like the juxtaposition from Olrox to Alucard, right, in terms of like how different they are, but and still helping our heroes in their own way, right?
Which, by the way, Richter's backstory, with the mom and all that's made up for the show. That doesn't
Mm.
exist in the game.
Yeah, I figured.
So yeah, but what they're gonna do with Richter, not with Richter, with Alucard, like how they're gonna use him, I can't really tell you because they surprised me with just how early they brought this up. Because again, in the games, he's only in the picture because Richter vanishes. So I am curious. I'm definitely curious to see where this goes. But okay,
Okay.
now that we talked about him, because he's the returning guy, we can talk about some of the other stuff here. So just we kind of started talking about Richter. So I will say I overall liked him. I thought he was
Okay.
a different enough protagonist from Trevor to that it didn't try to at least recapture it because it's like, oh, he's the main character, so he has to fill a role. But
Definitely felt
and
like the VA was trying to do a little bit of the Trevor voice though, just a little bit. Like I
I
felt like
don't know what the hell you're talking
I don't
about,
know, I
dude.
felt like
He's
I heard
way
it
higher
shine through
pitched.
just a little bit here or there, personally. Maybe
I
it's just
didn't get
me,
it.
but I felt like I heard that kind of that slight Trevor voice shine through just a little bit in some of it here or there. But maybe that's just me.
I maybe it's just you. I need to look other people's opinions now to
Oh, fair,
see
fair.
where the thing stands. But overall, I liked him. I also liked his arc and kind of the in the games he doesn't really have. It's just like, okay, I'm the next Belmont. Oh, Dracula causes shit and he kidnapped my girlfriend. Guess I better live up to my destiny. And like, not that he was bad or anything. He was serviceable. But
I want to
I
see like I said, right. I have my issues with him, but I think you know, always first season woes. I think as we get further in and we see the second season, I'm going to end up liking him more. But it's definitely
uh,
something that's going to grow on me a bit. But I am curious to see where they go with him and his relationship with Olrox as well, right? And how connected
yeah.
those two are.
Yeah, these two, like, they don't share a lot of screen time together, but I like the dichotomy. I like that, because Richter for the most part, he seems, when we meet him again when he's an adult, he seems already kind of really well acquainted with the whip. Like, he knows how to take care of himself. He's also kind of have this reputation that, oh, we know he's around. We know we can kind of count on him to take care of those demons and vampires and the stuff that's just attacking us. So he has that, but then Orlox is like this thing that he can't really let go, and he even says that, and you can tell that his mom's death is still something that haunts him,
Mhm.
and but he's kind of trying to shove it up as like no big deal. But then when he meets Orlox again, it gets to him. He runs away. He actually needs to deal with it. And you can also tell that despite the cockiness, he's also kind of level headed to the point that he doesn't want to just rush into situations without a plan. And I thought he was cool. I thought he was cool.
Oh,
So
fair, fair.
I I
We
think
should.
Richter was done justice.
What do you think about his apparent maybe love interest, Annette?
Oh no, she's the love interest because in the original game she's just his girlfriend from the start.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Because maybe this is just me, but it felt like before they showed the scene of them kind of Richter and Annette blushing at one another, it felt like they were gonna do a thing of Annette and Maria, but then they just kind of like there's that one moment that they had where it's like, are you gonna do a thing with these two? Because it feels like they're having a moment here. Maybe it's just me. And then they do this and like, okay, no, all right, I get it now. But that other moment was a little weird.
I'll tell you what, to me it was extra funny because Annette in the show is like not for bad, okay? I have no problem with the fact they made her black. I have no problem
Yeah.
with that whatsoever. But listen, it was such a shock to me when they first referred to her as Annette. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Annette. Like, because like I see Richter, and even though Maria is aged up, like in Round of Blood she's 12, they try to age her up a bit more to what
Oh,
she is
okay.
in Symphony of the Night. But like, listen, but I saw Annette, I'm like, okay, and I saw Maria, and I'm like, okay, that's Maria. I get Annette, I didn't even recognize. Like, and it's again, it's not just the skin color, but it's also that in the original game, her hair is fucking pink. Okay, that's you remember this design choice. You get what I mean? It's
Hmm.
not so. And then it's like, wait a minute, that's okay, okay, because again, when the game starts, they are just established as a couple, and here they are playing it from when they met, how they develop,
Yeah.
and they're trying to build something up with these two. So
Which
yeah,
is fair. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
no, nothing wrong with that at all.
It's what they
And
did with
if
Trevor and
anything,
Sypha,
I
and
prefer I
that
prefer
was
this
good.
Annette because this Annette actually does something.
Fair. Like, yeah, I mean, speaking of Annette, if we're gonna move on to her, like, I like her as a character. I love the
Yeah.
story behind her. I love everything they've done with her. They've done really good with her. Like,
Hmm.
she feels, as of right now, to me, a bit more of a main character than Richter or Maria do. Although
I
Maria
tell
got a
you
lot
what,
more for me at
she's
the end, and I hope they work with that a lot. But we'll get there.
like I think she's just given like her entire backstory, and when she met her friend,
Edward,
apologies for Edward. Yeah,
Edward.
so their entire thing, her backstory of actually, being shunned, and finding a person who was like a family, and then having to lose him, and actually when she notices that maybe he's still there, and trying to get him back. And I really liked her in this show. She like again, she wasn't much of a character to in the games like at all, but damn, what an upgrade.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought she was great. Like, she's definitely the one of the main cast that I like the most as of right now. To be
Mhm.
honest.
Yeah. She's definitely interesting, and I want to see what they do with her. Not just in terms of how she and Richter are gonna end up together. Honestly, I don't care but that much. But I just want to see more of her. Like what else she can bring to the. I want to see her interacting with Alucard. In the next. I want to see her getting stronger and actually beating more bad guys. I want to see more. I want more of this Annette. Give me more of her.
I'll admit, right, when we first saw them, when they came in to save Richter's ass because he's getting beat by the night creatures, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so they're gonna save his ass, and so they're gonna go into the chateau and be all sneaky, and then they're gonna get caught, and both of them are gonna die, aren't they? And then they're like, and then I'm watching them like, which one of you is it? One of you's gonna die, or both of you's gonna die. I don't know who it is, because we got to set some more shit up. Because neither of you feel main character material yet, and then Edward dies, and I'm like, okay, I knew it.
Well, when they said that Annette is Annette, I'm like, okay, Edward, bye bye.
I didn't know Annette, right? That's not something like
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
familiar
I'm
with the
telling you my
games. Oh, no, no,
perspective,
fair,
though.
fair. But like, I figured it'd be both of them at first, but I knew it had to be one of them. Someone's gonna die here. I just know it. Which one of you is it? And
Mm.
even after that, I was still like, all right, so you're gonna kill Annette later. I got it, because it felt like there's quite a few moments, to me at least, where okay, so Annette's gonna die here. No, okay, so she's gonna die here. No, okay, so she's gonna die here. No, all right, she's a main character then. If she's not died by this point, she's a main character. I give up.
Yeah. Mhm. So I guess, what did you think about Maria?
I feel I like her a little bit more than Richter, but at least for now, I think like by the end of it, Richter kind of gave me more that I liked than Maria did. But Maria feels as of right now fairly one note, because most of her personality was "Vive la révolution," and that's kind of it.
Yeah. Well,
She doesn't really
here's
have a
the
lot going
thing.
on until we find out that, oh, who her dad is, which called that shit in episode 2 or 3, the first time
Okay.
we
You know
fucking
what?
meet the
You know what?
fucking
You know
priest.
what? I will say with the priest, listen, I because that cracked me up. In Rondo of Blood and like Symphony on the Night, the priest's name is Shaft,
They don't mention his
and
name in this one.
and let's say it's not Shaft. And I was kind of bummed because I can tell they changed the name just because of that, because of the other Shaft. You know what I mean? Because people had made jokes, so I'm like, I'm sure they changed his name from Shaft just because of that movie. But hey, what
Possibly.
can you do?
Eh, it'd
Uh,
be.
so just a fun note.
No, fair, fair. But yeah, like I definitely like. Okay, so there's something going on. Her mom's way too up in this guy, and then we
That's
find out.
actually another change. Maria's parents are just assumed to be killed by Dracula. In the games, she doesn't really have a mother or a father there. Here, they took another character and made her Maria's mother.
I like that though
So,
because her mom has a
well,
lot of
I like
backstory
it.
going
I
on
mean,
there. I liked her mom more than Maria.
mhm. Yeah,
But
like no,
I
again,
spent.
I'm bringing this up as a change. Like they took a source material and said, how can we make it more interesting, and on that note, in this show, it's implied that Maria's mother kind of took Richter in, and they basically grew up as step siblings.
Mhm.
In the original game, Richter just saves her when he goes to Dracula's castle. So again, they found really interesting ways to play off those character dynamics
No, like
and
they've
make it seem natural.
there's not a lot of story there, so they've definitely taken more from it and went the extra mile with it, which full credit to them, right? They're
Yeah,
doing
and
great
again,
with that.
and great, and I mentioned this because this was one of the stronger plot points. One of the stronger elements in the previous show too, that they know what to take from where
Hmm.
to mash it into one big product. Like even if in the original it was mostly Castlevania 3, but they can do this and that and this and that, and it worked in its benefit. And also here
Well, I
they are
think
doing Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night, but they are taking from here and
well,
there, and they kind of put their own spin on it.
for the last show, I think right, the big one was how much they did with Isaac's story, right, and where they took that
Yeah.
for Isaac, right, like because that was the big one because yeah,
Hmm.
Isaac was just great. Like he kind of ran the show for a while there, pretty much.
Yeah. Hmm. And
But I
so
like
and
we do get to the end, and for Maria, we get close to the end, and we see, oh, I got Dad has to kill the daughter because or sacrifice the daughter because
she was a virgin, I think.
no,
That's
because
what it was.
well, not just that, because we
Yeah.
need to show the loyalty. The priest needs to prove that he's not gonna betray the vampires because we're doing the evil priest thing again. But I
Hmm.
do kind of like this angle a bit because it seems like he's very conflicted and he knows that he's kind of realizing by the end
Yeah,
he's
I
signed
know
that
he
deal with the
fucked up.
devil. We're doing the what was his name? Isaac's friend, partner, the dude the puppy dude that no one
Yeah,
likes.
I don't remember his name, but yeah. But that guy, yeah. Anyway,
Looking
we'll
it
get
up
to him.
real quick. Uh
So how's that? Well, Wolf checks
uh,
the name, which I can do too, but I'm lazy and he's already on it.
Hector. That's
So
who it was. Hector.
Hector. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, like we're doing kind of Hector's story, but with the priest now, and he seems to have some character there. But then her mom sacrifices herself and gets turned into a vampire, and I'm interested to see where they go with this. This is neat.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope this
Um,
adds more to Maria, since, like I said, to me so far in season one, she felt more one note. So I'm hoping this adds a lot more to her, and she's going a lot more. She's going to be doing a
yeah.
lot more, going through a lot more because of that.
She'll probably do because let me tell you, in Rondo of Blood, she's the fucking easy mode of that game. When you rescue her, the game's done. That's it. You don't even have to try. It's kind of hilarious how the 12-year-old makes the game super easy to the point that if you beat Dracula with her in the remake, he even goes completely impossible, beaten by a little girl. So, yeah.
Fair, fair. So yeah, I'll definitely be interested to see more from her.
Yeah, but I will say that I liked how they incorporated her animal bodies into the animation. That she like summons them via magic, and she
Mhm.
uses them in a lot of ways. I think I enjoyed what they did with her. Like, and again, Annette also got a lot of upgrades. The animation we already praised, really
Mhm.
great. I'm interested to see the new big bad because again the vampire lady who was in Castlevania Bloodlines. I don't remember her name.
Drolta.
Yeah, she was.
The
She.
the I
I
again, I
think.
don't mean it this way, but the black vampire lady, is that the one who was in the game?
Yeah, she was in Castlevania Bloodlines. She's
Okay.
the one who's trying to resurrect Dracula,
Ah, okay.
which she's. So basically, her part. I enjoyed her for what she was trying to do. I think
I
she had
like
a
Drolta.
presence.
Yeah, she definitely had presence. Like she had the style, the presence. I thought she was a great villain. I thought we were going to be seeing quite a bit more of her, but no, like Alucard comes in. Nah, bitch, my story. Get out of here. Be gone with you.
Which but I will say because up until this point they just built up this other villain, and we see in the ending that in the finale that she's not a force to be reckoned with because they can do shit to her. Now that I wonder how she's gonna be as more of a character because she didn't really have much of a time to be a character. Now she does because she's here. Up until
Well,
this point,
my
we
problem
try to
with
just.
my problem I think with Ursabet, right, is that
Mhm.
it feels like we're doing the Carmilla thing again, right?
Mhm.
That's,
Yeah,
it
in a
kind of
way.
feels like the Carmilla thing again, but Carmilla did really fucking well when she came in at making you okay. This bitch.
Mhm.
Ursabet doesn't really feel like this bitch at the moment. She just feels like
Uh,
eh. Drolta
yeah,
felt like this bitch to me.
that's the thing, though. I feel like they're saving this bitch to later. Which,
Fair, fair.
is not. It's never really an excuse, but I feel like we haven't seen what they really plan to do with her yet.
I don't know. I think it would have just been personally. I think it would have been better if we hadn't seen Ursabet yet. We just saw them do the eclipse,
Yeah.
and it was
Maybe
and we
show her
just they
coming
focused
back,
more on
but not
Drolta, and
demonstrate her
Drolta was
abilities.
finished, and we finished Drolta by the end of the season, and it wasn't Alucard that did it, right? Or maybe we got a little
Mhm.
bit more, like maybe we had another episode or two, or just another portion of season two with Drolta, just so we could get a bit more of her, and then like close to the end of Drolta's time, we start to
Yeah.
introduce more of Urzabet, and we get more of her, and we just like she stays more background, right? I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe that wouldn't have worked at all. I'm not a show writer. I don't know what I'm talking about. But to me,
Uh,
I don't know. Like I liked
I get.
Drolta a lot more.
Yeah, because again, I think it just comes down to the fact that we had more time with her. She had more
Fair,
time
fair.
to have a screen. She had a lot more screen time. Maybe next season things could change. I don't know. I will say though,
I
they
feel like
they
next
have
season though, there's gonna be a
potential.
big focus on Tara as a vampire now, right? Because she's been changed and all that. I feel like she's gonna be more of the villain than Urzabet is as well, potentially.
Well,
So
we'll see how things go, right? Because I'm not sure where they necessarily can go from here because with how they introduced Alucard and how with a lot of other changes they pulled, I am kind of hooked on seeing what else they're gonna do with this story because I am not sure if they're gonna bring Dracula back now,
well, they've
and
definitely
that's
got
like
my
the big thing.
curiosity, yeah, that's for sure.
Hmm Because that's a big thing with Castlevania. There are some exceptions,
Well,
I'm
Dracula's
sure.
already
Well,
back. He's still alive. Remember, he already got brought back.
yeah, no, that's the thing. I'm sure that we're gonna see him at some point. And the thing is that if we're going to see him, then this other bitch doesn't stand a chance on living an impression. But who knows? we we're gonna have to wait and see on that. I will say though, I'm interested because there is potential here, and I want to see what they do with that potential.
Fair, very fair.
Now, with I guess anything else you want to talk about,
I mean, we
or
should
can
cover Olrox a little bit. What did you think of him? Our Aztec vampire. I kind of like that. Oh, and we didn't even
I
talk about
will.
him. Our other new guy, Mizrak,
Mizra.
the godly knight.
Mizrak I didn't really care for much, but all like I said, I really liked. Like
I
I thought he
think
was a great villain.
I think we're gonna get a lot more from Mizrak next season, right? I think he's gonna be kind of another one of our main cast characters, and we're gonna have our 4 main cast. And Olrox, is gonna kind of be in the background with Mizrak somewhat, right? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I'm definitely
Absolutely.
interested in Olrox because it seems like he's also one of these really powerful older vampires. It seems like he has a lot of
Mm-hmm.
shit going on too, and it feels like
Yeah,
we're
and
gonna do
I
that,
think
where Trevor had that fight with Death at the very end. We're probably gonna see a fight between Richter and Olrox 1-on-1 at the very
yeah,
end.
like obviously, I think this is gonna be the big thing, and I'm because again they start the show with him literally murdering Richter's mother in front of him, which again change. Like again, Olak is nothing in the games. He's just a boss you defeat in Symphony of the Night.
Mm,
Here and here, I like his design. I like the voice, and
mm.
just and also just he has his little boy toy that he plays around with, and he tells them and he tells them about this other guy that Richter's mom supposedly killed, and he says, I was in love with him, and I want to, and he's like, oh, so you're gonna protect me now? And it's like, no, I'm not in love with you. Like it's this little thing that just shows how much of a in that he just kind of essentially uses that guy, but at the end you can tell maybe he does care for him a bit,
Mm-hmm.
maybe he doesn't necessarily want this because he comes to Richter for help with with destroying that machine at the end. So who knows?
And
He
trying to
has a
get
lot
rid of
to him.
Ertzabet as well because he doesn't want her around
Yeah.
either, apparently.
hmm Yeah, so I find him really interesting. He's kind of a neutral party, and I want to see more of where things go with him.
Yeah, no, I agree. He
So,
he almost puts me in the mind a little bit of Dracula, right?
hmm I
In
bet.
terms of like character here or there a little bit and how he feels. So yeah, I
hmm
agree. I'm definitely curious to see where that one goes.
And do you want to talk about Jules Belmont?
Yeah, uh, fucking juiced Belmont. Yeah,
Juice. Okay.
the old dude, the
So
old
I'm gonna
badass who
say.
shows up and kind of does the one thing, and then all right, I'm done.
So this was a really weird reference because I will say Juice Belmont is an actual character. He's the
He's in
main
Rondo of
character.
Blood, right?
No, no, no. He's not. No, he's not in Rondo of Blood. He's from a. I think it was on the DS. There was a DS game called Harmony of Despair. He's the
Ah,
main character of that. So here's the thing that the game confirms that he's the grandson of Simon Belmont from Castlevania 1, 2, and 4, but it never mentions what his connection to Richter is. And now in this way, it's like, oh, I'm your grandfather, which cool. I guess it makes sense. And the story he tells Richter, about his two friends and stuff. That's actually the story of the game of Harmony of the Spell, from what I know. And you can tell. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but in the original game I heard, at least this is one of those of the ones I haven't played, but I've heard that he's a lot more carefree in that game, and in this one you can tell that he's a lot more jaded, he's a lot more bitter, and so you could make the argument that the game kind of changed them, and this is
well,
the aftermath of.
he's kind of like he's Trevor, but a Trevor who literally lost everything and just never got out of the slump, right?
Yeah.
Like he's what Trevor
Mm,
could have become, I guess you would say, if Trevor didn't
hmm
find Alucard and Sypha.
Yeah, most likely, yeah. And and but I think he doesn't really do much, but I guess what he really was there to do is to give Richter that push, to give Richter that,
Mm.
because when Richter meets him, Richter is like clearly recovering from seeing Orlux again
Yeah,
and being completely frozen by him and terrified, and he essentially helps Richter by essentially breaking down over the loss of his mother and also helping him unlock his magic, which is, again, we talked about this fantastic scene. So he didn't do much, but you know what? I like the bit that he had.
fair.
Now the question is, if are we gonna see him again? And the bigger question: are we ever going to see anything regarding Simon Belmont in this show? Because come on, guys, he's the one that started the games. Give him some spotlight. I'm just
Never,
bitter.
never, never mention Simon. But no, I think we will. I
He's
mean,
in
he has
Smash.
the Juiced has to come back and like save the day at least once, right? And then die. Like there has to be that moment. I feel. Maybe
Mhm.
I'm wrong, but it feels like
I feel
it's
like
either
he's
Alucard
gonna
or
come.
Juiced, right? Like someone's gonna die here, right?
Mhm.
Like it just feels like
But,
you've introduced Alucard this early on. It feels like someone's going to die here. Someone has to. There's too
mhm.
many old badasses running around at the moment, all right?
I
To
don't
kind of
know.
take the spotlight away from our hero cast. So someone's gotta go. I don't know which old badass it's gonna be, but someone's gotta go.
I'm pretty sure Juice will come back in some way, and maybe maybe sacrifice himself. I can't really promise anything, but he wasn't introduced for nothing. I feel
Yeah, like that feels
there's going to be.
it feels way too small, right? It feels like, okay, you had this thing of him kind of the red outline moving super fast, looking like a fucking badass with the whip. Like, yeah, I was the original owner of that whip. It was mine, boy. And it's like, okay. Like, and then you just, all right, well, I'm done. I'm out. I'm just kind of broken and jaded. I don't care no more. See ya. I I
Mhm.
I did my thing. I had my moment. Goodbye. And we find out a
Yeah.
little bit about who he is in his past, and it's like, all right, you're gonna do more with him. I thought they were gonna kill him in the moment when they were both captured, but no, that was Richter's like, nah, fuck this shit, not again. And it's like, all right, cool, that was a fun moment, like we said. But
Mhm.
then Juice just like, yeah, no, you ain't getting away. Here's the whip, and then Richter, kills him and kills the
Mhm.
guy that tried to kill both of them. And it's,
Yeah.
again, like there's stuff there that I don't know, like this season to me felt very like I was able to predict a lot of what they were going to do. And
Mhm.
now I'm kind of sitting here. It's like, all right, prediction wise, it feels like, as I said, you have too many old badasses running around, and the story you're trying to tell, they kind of by just being there, that we know they're there. It feels like one or both of them have to go because this is Richter, Maria, and Annette's story, and I guess Mizrax at this point, not
And Alucard now.
Alucard. Yeah, but
Alucard officially joined.
I don't feel like Alucard's gonna stay. I'm sorry, I just don't because he's from the old show. I feel like you want the new characters to be more of the main spotlight than you do an old character coming back.
I know, but at the same time, I feel because I think I also told you this when we were talking about the possibility of more shows in the Castlevania world,
Mhm.
and when they are interested in doing a Richter show, I I mentioned that the reason I think they're jumping straight to Richter and not doing Simon or anyone else is because Richter is the one that also meets Alucard at some point.
Fair.
So I think maybe he's not gonna be a big role. Maybe he's just he's just gonna cameo and do stuff in the next. I am not sure what they're gonna do, but we're gonna see Alucard again.
Fair. No, I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't be around, but I feel like for a show, right, when you bring another character back, an old character back from an old show that's connected to the new show, generally speaking, you don't keep them around for a huge amount of time, especially from our action based shows. Generally speaking, you end up killing them because, like, oh, we want to show just how evil this new big bad is and set it up for, this new big bad, right? Because they killed the old hero or the old character from the old show. That makes this new big bad even worse, right? Because that's the general idea. So I don't know if they're gonna kill Alucard off, right? But it definitely feels like I don't know, like he's gonna have to take a bit of a seat because I don't think we've seen Richter really do anything yet, in my opinion. He's taken down a
I
few
think
mooks. That's kind
maybe
of it.
they're gonna. My bet, maybe they're gonna split up a bit, so that Alucard would have his thing and Richter will have his. That way, they're not eating into each other.
Possible.
But because again, I mentioned there's no way they're gonna do Symphony of the Night and just ignore Alucard. He's the main character of that game. They have a fan base to target. I'm going based
Ah,
on
fuck him.
that. Okay, then you hear that? If you're a Symphony of the Night fan, Wolf hates you.
I don't hate you. I just fuck you. I just don't care.
Yeah, well, send the hate mail to this guy.
Nah,
I
I don't
am
do
not.
that. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. If you well,
No, it's
anyway,
yeah. Like I said, I'm interested because I know how shows generally tend to do this sort of thing, and I'm curious to see what they'll do here, right? And it'll be very different for the most part. So it's definitely an interesting thing that they've done, and I'm curious. And as we've said before, in multiple times with the show and even the old show, they've done very well at taking the games and changing them over and adapting them, right? Extremely well, in
yeah,
fact. And
very
to some
well.
degree, within that adaptation, they've done pretty well at subverting that expectations with what they've changed and haven't changed, also. So I'm curious to see where they go with it. Definitely.
Same here. I'm curious, and I'm glad that season two has been officially confirmed. So unless Netflix pulls an inside job again, please don't.
uh, they
But
can't, right? This is too much of the golden goose, right? Castlevania is
mhm.
actually popular, which I felt like.
Yeah.
Which I mean, saying that, it felt like Inside Job was pretty popular too, but I guess not.
Well, but I guess Inside Job was an original show. This is based on a long-running franchise, which, granted, is owned by Konami, and
We don't
Konami
have to
isn't the
mention
best.
them. We can
Konami
just
ain't the best company right now, but at the same time, it has more of a longevity, I
yeah,
suppose.
yeah. No, I agree. Since we've brought it up a little bit, like speaking of season two here at the end, is there anything you'd want to see from season two? I think we mentioned a
Well,
few
I
things
want.
here or there, but is anything specific?
Mm, I guess more. I guess I want to see more. What does Alucard's role to play in this is, because
Mm-hmm.
he just shows up at the end, and his motivations aren't yet clear. And I want to see what exactly brought him here. What's his take on the whole situation? Because there are a lot of things you can do with it. And again, like you said, I want to see how they're going to balance the Alucard and Richter, screen time.
Yeah.
One, because I don't want one to take over the other, but so I want to see that. I just want to see how the story develops and see what they're gonna do with it. I don't really have any wants. Just I'm hooked. Show me what you got.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think for me, I want to see a more of our main cast, which seems to be Richter, Maria, and maybe Mizrak. That one's on the fence still, but at least Richter, Maria, and Annette. It feels like Annette's in a decently solid place, but Richter and Maria, to me at least, still feel a little one note, and I want to see more to them. And I think we're already setting up that for Maria for season two, considering everything that's happened with her mom and her now dad, and everything we know about
Yeah.
that. So it'll be interesting to see
Also,
where they go with
I
her
have
and
one want.
if what we get
I
more
have
from
one
Richter.
want.
Mm-hmm.
I
Go on.
want hashtag bring back priest Shaft. I want Shaft the priest to be in this show. It's for the sake of hilarity, if nothing else. Okay, I'm half joking here. It doesn't need to happen. I just think it will be funny.
Mizrak will take up
So
the name Shaft.
yeah, something duet. Who cares? So
I mean, he did
so
get, the Shaft, wink,
oh, I see what you
from
did
Olrox,
there.
wink.
Yeah. Uh, anyway, I'm basically just I'm in for the ride. Let's see what
Yeah,
they
very fair.
have, and I'm looking forward to being back here whenever season 2 is out and talk about it because things good.
Yeah, very fair.
So, anything else to say?
No, like yeah, again, as we said before, it is whatever quibbles I may have, it is still a very good show and very much worth your time to watch if you're even remotely interested.
And if you're a Castlevania fan who enjoyed Round of Blood and Symphony of the Night and maybe the butchered Dracula X, then by all means watch it.
I mean, if you're a Castlevania fan, right? Like you're not going to be disappointed by this. I feel even the first show, I
And I
don't think
feel
you would have
and I
been
feel like
disappointed by.
if you're a Castlevania fan, you already did watch it. So
Probably, but if not,
yeah.
go watch it. Here's your recommendation from us here at the Outcast.
Yeah. So, with all that said, that's it for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed. What are your thoughts about Castlevania Nocturne? What do you want to see in the future seasons? Are you happy with changes made to the games? If you played them, you can tell us all about it in the comment section below on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team, and on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with a capital B, capital C. So, until next time, I was HC.
I was Wolf.
And we will see you all in the next episode. Take care.
Bye bye.